So, Al, we've been speaking the last few episodes around, the fact that this is a Jubilee year that we're in. And, what it means is that it's a year of the Lord's favor, and it's a year that we can be expectant of blessing, grace, favor. And yet it's not going to just fall out of the sky. It takes partnering and being intentional. What is our part and our role in all of this?
Sure.
And there are a couple of things that, we can do, and they're not necessarily massive things that, you kind of look at your day and you think, I don't know how I'm going to fit that in. It's more a case of how we're being when we're doing the things that we're already doing each day.
Yeah.
And we've spoken about, being intentional about gratitude and how we are with our number one other person in our world.
Yeah.
And in our conversation, you've shared, interestingly, that you've come across.
Of course, So I've been meeting with some people recently, and it's come to my attention that not everybody has. You know how we've spoken about it before. Your 5 people. When something's going on, hopefully one of our 5 people in our life, we can bring it to them, we can have a chat, we can work through some things, we can unpack, we can get some of our thoughts out that's spiraling in our, going round and round in a circle as we're ruminating. We can get it out without one of our people, right?
Yeah.
And how easy it has been for me to just assume that we all have at least a person, hopefully, preferably 5 people.
Yeah.
But that's not the case.
Yeah.
That's not the case for everybody. And so if we're looking to have a great year for 2025, part of that, I believe, and we both believe, requires us having great connection with people.
Yeah.
We need people. We're not created to do life on our own.
Yeah.
And I know for me, people bring energy, they bring perspective, they bring fun, they bring great insight, they help to mirror what's going on in my life. And, we're both blessed. We do have people. We've got each other, just for starters, stuck with me. But it's true, right? And so I was just thinking what a conversation it would be today on a couple of things. If, A, we're somebody who doesn't have our 5, what can we do about that? If we don't have people, what can we do? And then also on the flip side, if we are taking for granted or we are blessed that we've got our people, what can we do from that point of view?
Yeah. So what I kind of heard between the lines there is that you've come into contact with people recently where you've noticed that there are people out there that don't have
people.
Yeah. And it's I don't know why it's always surprising for me to hear that. And I think I suppose it's because it's just kind of I've been blessed.
Yeah.
I've been blessed all my life to have people in my world.
Yeah.
And it's so easy to just think that that's how
The
life
norm.
is and that's the norm. And so it is sad that there are, and I think probably more people than I have realized, that don't necessarily have.
Well, even in our coaching space,
Yeah.
I mean, it's not uncommon for us to be working alongside people and sort of they don't have their person to talk to other than their coach. And, I think it's really important that, A, we remember that, and then, B, that we be on the lookout. How can I support people who don't have their people?
Yeah.
Maybe part of doing 2025 well is being intentional in our love and connecting with people that maybe we don't know. I don't know.
Yeah. Or when you come across people and they're sharing and you hear, I think it's paying attention to what other people say to you, because it can, again, it's this whole thing that we get taught in the coaching space about listening and, really listening. And I know, how many conversations have I had with people that I don't really know where you don't really listen that well either. They're sharing stuff and you're going, you're just part of this conversation and you're thinking,
I need to go home. I need to hang out the washing. Oh, it's raining.
Yeah, that kind of thing. And I think sometimes even just, part of what I think I could do is be more mindful of conversation with others and recognizing when, okay, so potentially this other person is sharing what they're sharing because maybe they don't have someone else to share that with, and just pay more attention, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, no, agreed. That's really beautiful. I remember when Jackson was little and he was telling me one of his stories. That kid could talk, still can. But I remember him saying one time, "Mum, I can tell you're not listening when you make that noise." Wow. Wow, what a wake-up call for me that day. Because I thought I was listening, but I wasn't listening. And our kids notice, hey?
And it's so easy to do. It's so easy to think you're listening when you're not actually listening. Hey? Yeah. Yeah. So if you're listening to this show, it's an encouragement. If you'd like to join us on the journey of making 2025 great, So what does it mean to listen?
What does it mean? Yeah, well, it does mean to focus on what people are saying. Pay attention, look, understand, pause for a moment and really be present with that person.
Yeah. And sometimes it's also, I think one thing that I've learned and I'm learning more and more in the coaching space also is listening to just listen and not to try and fix something. I know how often, I don't know if you've experienced this, but I've experienced this quite a lot when I'm in conversation with someone and as they're talking, the thought in my head is, I wish they would just give me a gap where I can just jump in and say, I've got a really good nugget to share. I've got a really good thing that's going to help solve this issue. And I just am waiting for that moment. So I'm clearly not listening at all to what they're saying.
Because you've got something really great to say.
Because I'm going to jump in and share my bit. And I'm learning to, first of all, just be aware of when I'm doing that. And I just sort of press pause and go, no, Kath, just listen. Yeah.
No, that's great, because I've also been the opposite, where you've been trying to say something and so I'm trying to say something, but the other person who's supposed to be listening to me isn't listening, and they're just trying to say, they're trying to finish all of my sentences. They're clearly not listening because every time they try and finish my sentences, they're getting it wrong. So it is, you can tell.
Yes.
You can tell when you're not being heard. And I think it's a really great thing for us to also be very aware when we're not doing the listening.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
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 And then the other part of the story is, okay, if we find ourselves without somebody, we could sit in that space and go, but I don't have anybody. I don't have anyone to talk to. I'm a bit lonely. I've got all these problems that no one to talk to. There must be a way that we can show up in 2025 to help on that process. What are your thoughts around that?
Sure, that's a big question and so true. And if you're listening and you're one of those people and you feel, but that's me, I don't have anybody and it's just so hard and I don't know where to start. I hear you.
Yeah.
It's not an easy place to be, and yet I heard someone share, and I can't remember again who it was. But anyway, what they shared, which I've taken to heart, and I've tried it out, and it works. Is if you've got a gap in your life and it's just not there, and you're not sure how to fill it, it's to go and be that for somebody else. So if you're feeling like you just don't have a significant other to pour out to and to share, is to make yourself available to other people and to be there to listen to other people. And you might be thinking, but Kath, that's not going to work because who do I do that with? I don't know. Yeah. And what I've also discovered in the coaching space, and I was so steeped in this, like right in the beginning of my journey when I first discovered this world of coaching, I was so good at making all these excuses for why something was so hard. And yes, you know what, it works for Aly, but it's not going to work for me because, and then I'd give all this list of excuses. And I remember, when our coach was teaching us about this concept, and sitting in the room thinking, like, I don't want to hear this, because it was such a true reflection back onto who I'd been and how I was living my life. And it was hard to hear, And I remember actually getting all teary in the back of the room thinking, but I don't know how to change this. But at least I think the beginning of it was just even the awareness. Okay, so owning the fact that I'd been making all these excuses and that I think I was waiting for somebody else to come along and save the day,
We all want a knight in shining armor.
And the reality of, well, what's something I can do to help myself in this? And it was that whole piece of awareness, ownership, responsibility. That's hard. It's hard when that's
you
not
want
the
someone
answer you
to
want.
save you. Yeah, when you want someone to come along and just fix it all and be that person for you, and it's not there, and you've got to do something about it and take action, it's hard.
Yeah.
But that's also true. That's where growth happens.
Yeah.
When we're uncomfortable, when we step out, when we try something different.
Yeah.
What's that saying about when you...
Oh, if you keep doing what you've always done, you're going to
Yeah.
keep getting the same results,
Yeah.
And it does take trying something different, which is scary when because it's that whole thing of stepping out of your comfort zone and, what if someone, what if I fail and what if I'm going to look silly and all those things,
Yeah. Because we're all human. We all have those emotions. We all feel the feels.
Yeah.
But what do we do? What do we choose to do in those feelings?
Yeah.
And sometimes it is stepping out of our comfort zone and intentionally being that person for somebody else, or being the gap that's missing in our life.
Yeah.
But also, if connection is something that you're really looking for, it's being intentional about where to go find it too.
Yeah.
So yes, it's to be that for somebody else, and that could be something simple as really listening at the shopping centre, right, to the person serving you at the cash register. Like, I've had some fat chats with some people serving me, and we'll finish and the kids will be, "Are they your friend, Mum? Do you know that person?"
Yeah.
No, but you've just sat and you've heard.
So, I'm listening to you sharing, and what's coming to mind as an experience is, especially like we've relocated a few times in our life.
Yes, yeah.
So have you too. You've
Yeah.
also done that. And so I think, without even realizing, for people that have like relocated quite a lot, we've kind of had practice in connecting and sort of
Agreed.
putting ourselves out there to meet new people. And it's less of a deal for me to talk to a stranger. But one of the places where I have found it quite challenging has been in church. So we've kind of been intentional wherever we've moved. It was easier when the kids were at home because schools connected us, sports connected us, other people with kids connected us. So this recent move to Adelaide, we moved on our own with no kids, and it was, okay, so the workplace for hubby is a good place to connect. And we decided to be intentional about finding a church. And again, because we've relocated a lot, we've been in a lot of churches. And I know for myself, when I have found my people in a church and they become my people, I do go into the zone of I get to church and I look for my people and I go and stand by my people and I talk to my people and I don't actually pay attention to any, others. And so now you're the new person again and you walk in and you're looking around and you're thinking, I don't know anybody here.
Yeah.
And how awkward to just walk up to
Just
a group
to
and
join
just
in.
to join in on the conversation. And this church we have found in Adelaide has been fabulous. It's called Life Christian Centre, and it's easier when hubby's with me because like I've got some. We talk to each other, but there have been just one or two key people who have been just so wonderful in making contact, and it's usually when you sort of. Finally, you're in the service and you're sitting next to someone, and then there's that moment when, you finish.
The 1 minute mingle or something.
1 minute mingle. Oh, and you just want to cringe and sit down and go,
Quickly
I
go to the
don't wanna
toilet.
do this. But I had a lady recently who, last year, who we got chatting, and I don't know why I said this, but I said to her, would you feel okay sharing your number with me? And I mean, this is a perfect stranger, but you're at church, right? So you kind of feel you've got something in common. And she was lovely, and she said, of course, she knew that I was new, and so I took her number, and the next morning, I kind of thought, I looked at, found her number, I saw the message on my phone, and I thought, that was really weird, Kath. Like, did you really just do that? And how on earth am I going to, no ways am I going to phone, this number, this stranger. So I thought, I'll wait and see if I see her again. And it was only I think, I'm trying to remember back, 2 or 3 months after that, I saw her again, and she made eye contact with me, and she sort of did, put her hand to call me, kind of made this call me, and it was just wonderful that she kept that eye contact, and she reached out back and said, call me. And I have called her since, and we've had a couple of meals together, we've had coffees together, and this friendship has formed. And so this last Sunday, we were sitting in church, and I couldn't see my friend there, but sat next to this person I'd never met before, and she was new to Adelaide. And I said, and actually new to Australia and from Zimbabwe. And so I could say, hey, I'm from South Africa too, and only been in the country for weeks. And I said to her, can I take your number? I would love to meet for a coffee, because, and the surprise on her face, but it's because that's what happened with me. So someone had the courage to do that with me. And so, and it actually doesn't take.
No. And it's not that scary, really.
No.
It feels it, but it's actually not.
Yeah. So, and I did say, look, I'm going to be away but I'm going to be meeting her next week, and going for coffee with a perfect stranger, but a beautiful person who
is looking
to connect,
potentially connect and find their way around Adelaide. And no, that's beautiful. So this year, I think it's a really, we're looking for ways to really embrace our year and live it well. And, like you were sharing about your friend who passed and how big and extraordinary he did life.
Yeah.
And I think if we want to truly live that kind of life, and we want to live our motto of, live brave, strong and fulfilled, part of that is being really intentional, with including others in our world and meeting people with where they're at. And it's also making sure that we are reaching out to our 5 as well, and we are, doing life well in community and connection and enjoying our people.
And if you're listening and you don't have those 5, Aly and I know we so want to encourage you that it's what we focus on, we go and look for. And so, and it's the story you're telling yourself. So if you're telling yourself that it's going to be so hard to find these 5, and I'm focusing on how hard it is to find these 5, then
it will be hard.
Yeah. But if you would give yourself an opportunity to change that story and to do something a bit different, and even if doing something different is by starting to tell yourself that, or even just the question, what if it's not that hard?
Yeah, what if?
What if it could be easier? And what if I was going to take a step? And if you're listening and you haven't got a clue what that is, well, join our membership.
Yeah, there's some pretty cool people there.
Yeah.
No, well, that is a step. That is, and I've done that before. I've joined things where I've felt nervous about it and hesitated. But we are all human, and one of our needs that is standard among all people is connection. That is just who we are. We're made to connect. And sometimes it's being intentional and joining it could be the Brave, Strong and Fulfilled membership, our family. It might be, okay, I haven't been to church for a long time. There might be some good people there. What could that look like? And maybe exchanging a number. And it might feel scary, but, down the track you sort of look back and go, oh, wow, it was uncomfortable, but look at the friends I've made out of it. It might be just doing something slightly different in your day could have vastly different, consequences, outlook.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And so I know I'm grateful to, be in a space in my life where I have definitely got my 5, and very happy to have these conversations with you each week, Aly. And I know that that's definitely included in my, how do I do 2025 well? It's those relationships. So, thanks for the chat today.
No, thank you. And let's have a really blessed week.
Great.